You'll record. Okay, so let's get started with the listening masterclass today. Okay, hi, welcome to English with Mark again. This is the third session in this week's masterclasses. We are going to be looking today at how can we understand more? How can we improve our listening? Now, our listening can be challenging. It can be difficult because there are many different types of texts, many different accents, and also people speak in different ways. You will notice that you probably understand other foreign, like second language English speakers better than natives, because natives do not respect all grammar rules, and obviously they speak quite quickly. So we're going to be looking at that today. Why is it that people speak so fast? And how can we improve? So let's look at the listening masterclass for today. We're looking at study technique. Obviously, part of our study timetable, when we are studying, has to include listening. Speaking and listening are really the same thing. Listening is the passive skill where you receive, and speaking is the active skill when you produce the language. But you need to improve both. You need to practice both because they are related. When we are in this class, you need to take notes and take advantage of your notes, okay? We're going to be looking at learning phrases and not words with respect to vocabulary, but we are talking about listening skills today. How can we improve the way we listen in a foreign language, okay? I will give you lots of different techniques you could use, and I will also suggest where to find resources in order to improve. So let's see, listening. You need to remember that we have classes twice a day, every day this week. Today it is the 12th and this is the 11 o'clock session, but we also have another session at 5 o'clock. Yeah? At 5 o'clock, we are going to look at phrasal verbs. We will review phrasal verbs, how to learn phrasal verbs. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at reading skills and speaking skills, and we will be practicing. And then later, we also have a few other sessions in which we're going to be looking at the Cambridge exams and also study technique. So these are the key dates. Now at 11 o'clock, and we have another class, a different class at 5 o'clock. Okay, learn English with listening. What are the pros of this method? So there are many advantages to improving your listening. If you can understand, it is easier to speak. One, because of passive input, we will learn new vocabulary. Also, we will not feel stressed when we are speaking. If you are worried because you cannot understand, it is difficult to focus on what you want to say. So let's review. When we learn by ear, by listening, we have a lot of input and we can take in the language. So when we learn by listening, we receive a lot of information and we can assimilate, understand the language at a better level. Naturally, we will improve our pronunciation and vocabulary because if you hear a word many times, you will know internally how to pronounce it. Later, you apply it in speaking in order to be able to produce this language. What we need to do is use a variety of sources to listen. You cannot only do exam exercises. It's not a good idea. So let's review. Before we begin, I would like us to look at some general discussion questions. I want to know about your experience listening. So, Miguel, tell me, how often do you listen in English?
Very often.
Okay. Every day?
Because every day, practically, I watch TV news.
Okay.
I listen into the radio, BBC. I also listen into podcasts. Sometimes some lyrics. I love rock music.
So a lot of various sources. If you watch TV,
Yes.
podcasts, like online videos, or
Yes.
music, no, it's good. Yeah.
Even cassettes. I still have cassettes.
Okay. Do you take notes when you listen?
Sometimes for example, sometimes when I am watching TV news or a movie, I don't understand a word. I take my translator word reference.
Yeah.
I don't take notes, but basically the word end up into the register of the dictionary.
Of course it does. Of course it does. As long as you can remember to use this word frequently in the future, it's very good. But obviously you do quite a lot. Okay, good. And Imani, tell me, how often do you listen in English?
Many times, every day, every single day, especially for YouTubers, girls, when they are talking. Veronica Diary, I follow her. Yes, she is a Russian girl, but she is talking in English every in her videos. So I like her video because her videos talking always for productive days, for how to learn English. It's very good for me.
Yeah, fantastic. So obviously you focus on a topic that you are interested in. Now, it really doesn't matter if they are a native speaker or not, because you need to remember that English is a very common second language. Not everybody you speak to is a native English speaker. However, it's a very good idea to listen to different accents. We have a British accent, we have American accent, Australian accent, Indian English, it's an accent.
Yeah.
So they speak English. So obviously you need to be used to speaking different accents and listening to different accents. This comes at a higher level that you will start to distinguish between different accents. For example, when I listen to a native speaker, I normally know where they are from. So if I hear them, I'll say, okay, I know you are from London because of your accent. I know you are from New York because of your accent. I can even distinguish between different cities in the United Kingdom. It's very common. I personally have a very neutral accent because my parents are from London, but I grew up in Birmingham. Now, I do not have an accent from any of these places. My accent is very, very neutral. It's just general English. But some people have a very distinct accent, so we need to make sure we listen to these things. Okay? Now, Miguel was telling us about music. He listens and looks at song lyrics. Imani, do you listen to English music?
Yes, for Justin Bieber, I love her, especially for the singer. Her name is his name. For Christmas Day or like this.
Okay,
For Navidad.
Yeah. The good thing about music is songs repeat, repeat, repeat. Two, with the rhythm and the rhyme, you can sing along and it is easy to remember new words. It's a very good source. Also, if you use YouTube, you can, of course, listen and look at the subtitles at the same time. The key is to have subtitles in English if you are using them. But you need to listen with and without subtitles. Because in real life, there are no subtitles, so we need to make sure we use both. And Miguel, you were saying you listen to rock music. Do you have any favorite bands?
Yes, I love 60s music from, for example, British Invasion, American groups. Nowadays, I only listen to groups like with this influence. No, they are not very well known in the radio and the media. No, but
but you enjoy them. That's the important
yes.
thing. For you, this is not a difficult task to improve your English. It's something you enjoy. Now, I generally listen to music from the 1970s, 1980s, because it's the music I grew up with, and it's the music I enjoy, really.
Yes.
But like I said, you listen to things that you enjoy, and that's fantastic. Okay, let's talk about television. Miguel, you said that you watch the news on TV?
Yes, practically every day.
Watch series or movies or anything like
No,
that?
I don't like series. I only like movies. I prefer classic movies, all movies from the maybe 80s, 90s, or even older, no?
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. Obviously, it's about watching things that you enjoy. But today we will talk about ways to understand television and also to take advantage of television.
Yes.
Now, what we're going to do is look at these different sources. So, Imane, do you watch TV in English?
Yeah, maybe, but for in my computer, but in TV in my house, I only saw documentary. I don't know.
Yeah, documentary.
Yes, for animals in National Geographic.
But you know, I enjoy these things, and the type of language is very useful. It's interesting.
Yeah.
They obviously speak in a very clear way, which is nice. With things like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, we have a resource here that are fantastic to be able to improve our English, and we need to know how to take advantage of them. Okay, podcasts. Miguel, you said that you listen to a podcast.
Yes.
Which podcast do you listen to?
I used to listen the most of the time English program. They talk about interesting topics, culture, music, famous people, politics, and so on. This is my favorite.
I know this technique. Yeah,
my favorite podcast nowadays.
Yeah, it's a good podcast, and the technique is good. My opinion about learning a language is you should not take everything from only one source.
No,
I have a student who asked me, is Duolingo a good idea? And I said, well, yeah, any use of the language is a good idea. You will never become a 100% fluent English speaker by using Duolingo. But it is a fantastic tool. And you will learn how to put words in order, new vocabulary, all from this source. So obviously, I think it's a good idea. Okay, Imane, do you listen to podcasts?
Yes, for Spotify, they are generally motivational podcasts. Motivational, yeah.
Okay, so you listen in various languages, but obviously you can include English into this and find a topic that you enjoy. The idea is to begin with the topics that interest you. This is because they are high frequency topics. If you enjoy listening to things about wildlife and animals, about sports, about music, then obviously these are the types of topics you are going to talk about more frequently. So it's a fantastic thing to do. Okay, final question, Imane. Why can understanding natives be difficult? Why do you think it's difficult?
I think that, or I believe that because the native people talk more quickly, or we some that, for example, when I am speaking Spanish, for me in my first time, for me it's very different and very quickly, but really, and right now I am speaking Spanish very quickly when I am talking. So there are the difference for native people say and talk more quickly. It's normal for them because they are están acostumbrados.
Definitely, I understand what you mean. I think the most difficult natives to understand are native speakers who only speak English. Because normally they are quite closed and they only speak one language, so they speak in the way that they speak. However, saying they speak quickly, I think it is very relative. It depends on the person. I speak quickly. I speak quickly in English. I speak quickly in Spanish. I speak quickly because my brain works like this. I try to speak slower in classes, but when I speak to my brother, for example, we speak very fast, okay? What's your opinion on the issue, Miguel? What do you think about understanding native speakers?
Yes, I think to understand a native English speaker is the high level of the learning in English, because it's the real life, no? It's the better exam to understand a native English speaker, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's your objective. Most people
Yes.
want to be able to understand natives. But obviously, there are different types of natives. I have met native English speakers that I cannot understand.
Yes.
I remember one time I was with my wife in Scotland and we went to a shop and I was trying to ask for something and I could not understand the answer. And I asked 3 times and I said to my wife, do you understand this person? Yeah. And it was very, very challenging because it can be with accents, but you get used to them. Yeah, todo el mundo se acostumbra. Y al final un acento te acostumbras y al final...
It happens the same to me sometimes in Spain, no?
Oh, in Spain, yeah.
You don't understand any people.
Yeah, if you came to my region in Castilla-La Mancha, Albacete, there are some places, especially older people, wow, their accent is very close. But if we go Murcia, Cádiz, you know,
Cádiz.
yeah, it can be difficult to understand. Generally, it's about your personal experience. I have a cousin, well, my wife's cousin, from Cádiz. So I speak to him very often. And I'm very used to his accent. So I don't really have problems with it. However, there are some places where I really struggle, okay? Now, we're going to be looking at native speakers and how to make it easier for us, okay? So let's start looking. Understanding. Why is it so hard? The main reasons it is difficult to understand native speakers are these. 1, you do not practice enough. Most people do not practice listening because it is difficult and they would prefer to focus on other skills like speaking, reading, writing, vocabulary, grammar. You must practice your listening every day, but there are different ways to do it. The second reason that people have problems is they translate. You cannot listen, translate, and speak at the same time. You cannot do this well. Nobody can do it well unless they are a qualified interpreter, which is very difficult. It's a lot of work, a lot of study. You need to try to listen, think in English, and respond in English. Everything in English, because if not, it is double work, twice the work. The next thing is you listen to every word. Many people focus on every word they hear. When they do not understand one word, they obviously feel they do not understand the sentence. For example, if I said to you, you need to look up the new word in the dictionary. Maybe you will say, look up, what's look up? However, if you focus on all the other words, you need to, the word in the dictionary. Well, from the context, we know that this means to research the word, investigate the word, know what the word means. So we need to try to take things from context.
Yes.
If you listen to every word, it is too much information. As a native speaker, you do not listen to every word. Yeah? When I speak to you in Spanish and I say a lot of information, you do not listen to everything I say. If I ask you to repeat everything, you will say, I don't know every word, but you said summary, 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 un resumen. And the brain can only process this amount of information. Okay? So we call it reading between the lines, taking the important information, or the gist, taking the gist. But the next thing is,
sorry, could you give us a synonym of zoning out?
Of sorry? Of?
A synonym, zoning out. Avoid
okay,
zoning.
what we are looking at here at the bottom. Okay, this is the next point we are looking at. Yeah. So the fourth point is you don't listen. You get distracted. This is the synonym of zone out.
Okay.
You get distracted. Cuando estás en las nubes, estás en otro planeta y no estás pensando, no estás centrado en lo que te están diciendo, this is to zone out. So you can say, sorry, I zoned out for a moment. I was in the clouds. I got distracted, so I didn't listen. Now, some people get tired when they listen for a long time. They start focusing on other things. They start listening to other things. It happens to me sometimes when I am listening to a podcast or to an audio, and I think, oh, I haven't been listening. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm thinking about my own things. So you need to avoid zoning out when you listen. Zone out es cuando te metes en tu propio mundo y no sabes lo que te están diciendo. Now, this is very common. This is the main point I want to give you. Remember, people do not speak fast in English. What happens is you listen slowly. Let me explain. English is not a fast language. According to most linguistic studies, Spanish is a faster language than English. The fastest languages are Spanish and Japanese, whereas English is a slow language.
What is the reason of this anecdote? This characteristic, the reason why Spanish.
So there was a study by a French organization. I can't remember the exact date, but they studied all languages.
Yeah.
And they looked at the speed, words per minute, for example, and they realized that Spanish is a faster language than English.
Yes.
This is because English is quite a simple language. You can say things in a simple way. I remember I went to Japan 5 years ago because my brother lives in Japan. My brother speaks Japanese very, very well. And he was introducing me to his friend, and they were speaking in Japanese. And I remember they were speaking for 2 or 3 minutes, like a lot. And I said to my brother, look, you need to interpret. You need to tell me, what is he saying? And my brother said, oh, he is just saying hello. And it took 2 or 3 minutes with a lot of words. And he says, because they are formalities of the language. And it is a fast language. So basically, you need to understand it is your brain that processes information slowly, not that people speak fast. If you listen for a long time, you will realize that it starts to become slower and slower and slower. I have a friend here in Albacete, and when I met him, I thought he spoke very quickly. But after 4 or 5 months of spending time with him frequently, I noticed he spoke slowly. And I said to him, why are you speaking so slowly? And he said, I'm not. I'm speaking like I always speak. However, my brain made me think that he was speaking slower. because I could understand better. Okay, so things do slow down, but this takes months, like 3, 4, 5 months. Okay, so we're looking at ways why we don't understand. Let's look at sources of information now to practice. Okay, so the first source of listening we should be using is television. One, everybody likes television. Almost everybody. You can watch programs you enjoy and you can learn English with them. Here are the keys to understanding TV. One, you should watch series, movies that you have already seen in your native language. Do not expect to understand a movie the first time you watch it in English. This is level C2. This is because TV movies are designed, made for native speakers. Therefore, the first time you watch it, you probably won't understand all of it. I remember I tried to watch a movie, Inception, I think it's called, with Leonardo DiCaprio in my first year in Spain, and I really could not understand it. I watched it in English, and okay, I understood. Then I watched it again in Spanish, and then I could understand. This is because you want to focus on the language, not the plot, el argumento, not all of the dialogue. You want to focus on learning English. So watch it in Spanish, then watch it in English, okay? You can watch movies you have seen many times in Spanish. You know what it is about, but you watch it in English. You should always watch TV with English subtitles, not Spanish subtitles. If you watch it with Spanish subtitles, you read the subtitles, you do not listen. When I watch a movie in English with my wife with Spanish subtitles, I realize I read the subtitles in Spanish, which is stupid because I can understand both languages. What I do is I need to make sure I am fully engaged, I am listening and reading in English, and I am understanding. What you should do is watch with subtitles and take notes. Take notes of interesting phrases and words you do not understand. The first time you do this, you will realize you have a paper with lots and lots and lots of words, lots of phrases. After this, you need to review your notes. You take your notes, learn the vocabulary, use word reference to understand. Then you should repeat the movie, repeat the series. In this way, you will understand more. Repetition, repeating, is very important in all listening because it will give you confidence. You understand more. After maybe 4 months of doing this, you will realize that you are watching and you have 1 word, 2 words, and nothing else. This is because you now understand better. Then you can take away the subtitles. But you need to focus on this process. Listen, read, take notes, review, learn the notes, then repeat the episode. I did this when I came to Spain. I watched The Simpsons, Friends, these things. I liked them. I knew them in English, but I watched them in Spanish. After 3 or 4 months, I remember I didn't take notes. I could just understand. I removed the subtitles and then I could understand. Okay?
Sometimes Spanish movies are difficult to understand even for me.
Yeah. because of the plot. Yeah.
The sound is very bad.
Yeah, that's also true.
The recording of
American
yes.
Because the special effects are very loud, the music very loud, and the dialogue very quiet.
No, I am talking about Spanish movies.
Yeah.
you understand sometimes the actors, no?
Of course, yes. Of course, this can happen. But because it is your native language, then you
Yes.
don't really worry as much because, you know,
No.
we're used to it. Okay, so that's how you watch TV in English. Do you have any questions about watching television in English? No? Okay, well, let's move to the next source, music. Now, music is fantastic because you can listen to all the types of music you enjoy. You have different ways to engage. One, you listen and read the lyrics. You can listen with subtitles or listen and read the lyrics. Next, shadowing. You can listen and sing at the same time, like karaoke, but with the words. There are exercises that you can do with music, with listening and filling in the gaps. Yeah, rellena los huecos, fill in the gaps. There is a fantastic website called Lyrics Training. Lyrics Training. I will send it to you. And it has music with exercises. You listen, fill in the gaps, and you look at the answers. It's a good way to improve. Then later, with listening to music, you need to repeat, 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 because it's the way it works. The first time you listen to a song in Spanish, you do not know all of the lyrics. The same thing with English. You need to repeat it a lot to understand it. Maybe you understand the lyrics, but you can learn them. And it's a great way to improve, okay? Any questions about learning with music?
I think, in my personal opinion, if you don't know nothing about English, to try to understand, to learn English through the lyrics of the music, it's very difficult because for me, it create a barrier, no, years ago. Now,
Yeah.
because you don't understand absolutely nothing, and it's, you
it's
say,
frustrating.
it's frustrating, yes.
But to improve, obviously, we need to be able to understand.
Yes.
Now,
you need to take the paper of the lyrics and to follow, no, in the same time.
one thing you should not do is try to learn grammar with music.
Oh, yes, I know.
Songs,
They are,
yeah, they are poetical, really. They do not
yes,
always make sense. So
you know,
obviously you accept them for what they are. Okay,
yes.
good. So learning through music, it's practice and focus on music you like. If you do not like, I can't think of a type of music, like for me, for example, in Spanish, I don't listen to reggaeton, so I'm not
No.
going to learn Spanish.
It's impossible.
The lyrics are terrible as well. Yeah.
It's impossible to learn Spanish with reggaeton.
Exactly. But if you like this type of music, then obviously you focus
Or
on
maybe, yes.
Yeah. Now, next one, podcasts. When we listen to podcasts, we call this extensive listening skills. Extensive means it is a long audio, it is native level, and you're not supposed to understand everything the first time you listen. I can listen to podcasts in English and I don't understand everything. When I repeat, or maybe I will. But because it is long, you listen for gist. Listen for the gist of the audio, the main ideas. When you listen to a podcast, focus on who are they talking about? People. Where are they? When is it? What are they talking about? The main idea, but not all information. My suggestion is do not take notes when you listen to podcasts. Just focus on the main idea and a summary. You listen to the podcast, then after you say, what was that about? What is it? They were talking about sports, they talked about football, they were talking about Albacete Balompié, and you listen and you give the main ideas. Okay? A key thing is listen to topics you are interested in, and two, repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay? Questions about podcasts? No? So,
Yeah.
Tell me.
I listen podcasts, especially for podcasts, English podcasts, for example, for diary podcasts. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Good. I like it as a source. It's a fantastic source. However, they are long. And you cannot understand all of the information. So you need to do different types of listening, different types of sources. Okay? So vary them. Use different ones. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the next one. Intensive listening. Now, this is like exams, exam material. You listen to an audio for 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then you answer questions about the material. We call it intensive listening because you need to listen for detail. You need to understand most of the information. If the audio is 1 minute, then you need to know most of the words they say, like 70, 80% to answer the questions. My suggestion is read the audio, listen to the audio, sorry, read the transcript, read after what they have said. Then you need to look up the words, investigate information, do exercises, ABC, fill in the gaps, for example, and then repeat, repeat, repeat. If you need to listen to an audio 5 times, listen 5 times. It's 1 minute. 5 times, 5 minutes. When you do an exam, you can only listen 2 times. This is an exam, not real life. You listen, repeat. Una cosa que siempre digo que viene muy bien es que escuchas un audio, lees el transcrito, sabes todo lo que dice, lo escuchas, entiendes 100%, y luego lo dejas una semana. Luego vuelves a escuchar el mismo audio, te da ánimos porque dices, pues, es que entiendo cada palabra que dicen.
Yes, it's true.
It's true, and it really does make you feel good. Confidence is everything, okay? The sooner you can improve your understanding, really, your biggest problem in English will disappear. Honestly, it really will. Now, the next thing you need to do is try speaking about the topics after you listen. For example, you watch a series in English. Talk to somebody about it. You listen to a song, well, talk to somebody about the lyric. If you listen to a podcast, talk about the topic. You need to talk about it with your notes and try to use new words, new information. Now, ways to practice your speaking, we have seen before. 1, a language exchange. Speak to a partner. 2, talk to yourself. If you speak alone, then you will also improve. 3, record your voice and listen. You can give a summary. I have listened to an audio about blah, 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 blah. Then you listen. You can read out loud, for example, the transcript, or simply you can think in English about it. What have I listened to? What was it all about? Okay, which words did they use? And you think about it. Now, it's important to take passive and make it active because you learn by verbalizing the language. My wife tells me things all the time. I forget them. Okay, it happens. So you need to try to put it into a conversation and then you will.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we have these points.
I have a question for.
Yes, sorry, tell me. Please.
So what mean loud? Loud.
Loud. Loud is like fuerte. Loud. Yeah, quiet. Loud. So you say out loud in voz alta.
Vale, okay.
Okay. Yeah,
I have 2 questions. I agree with you. If you don't use your speaking your vocabulary, it rusts. You need to use every day.
Exactly. You get rusty in no time. Exactly.
And another one, do you have problems to understand Indian people, speakers of English?
Okay. I understand why you say this, but where I am from, in Birmingham, there is a very, very big population of Indian speakers, and their second language is English. For example, When I was a child, I had a big group of friends. And
Yeah.
of my 10 friends, I think 4 of them were from India. So I obviously have a lot of experience listening to this.
Yes.
However, I know native speakers who say they have problems here. It is a dialect. They do speak in a different way.
Yes.
The
It's
grammar is different.
very quick, very, I don't know.
Yeah, and they also use continuous tenses a lot. For example, they will use a lot, I am wanting to go to the cinema, which is really technically incorrect. I
Yeah.
want to go to the cinema. But in the Indian dialect, this is accepted. Okay? It's practice. Practice. That's all.
Okay.
On our YouTube channel, I have lots of different audios you can listen to with subtitles. We use artificial intelligence
Yes.
with different accents. And we use Australian, American, English, Welsh, Scottish, Indian accents, because I want you to be able to understand all of them.
Okay.
Yes, we do use them. Okay, so we've looked at speaking. Now, what have we learned? How can we improve our listening skills? Let's talk about the different sources. What do we need to do with the television?
To take notes, no?
Listen, take notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Repeat.
Okay, things you have are no. Review.
Yeah, you review it. So you look at the information.
Yes, if you can repeat the audio again, no?
It takes notes or like this.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you need
Repeat
to
and repeat
not
it.
write everything down. Not everything, because it's a lot of information. But yes, take notes of important phrases, key words. You could always pause, right, and continue. Okay. What about music?
Music.
What can we do with music?
Don't.
With subtitle or
Well, yeah, we can, with music, as we said, you can listen.
Yes.
You can sing with the music.
Sing along.
The gaps exercises and repeat. Use music that you like. Imani, if you like Justin Bieber, use Justin Bieber. It's fine. It's
Don't take seriously the grammar.
Yeah, you don't take the grammar seriously. Exactly. Totally agree. Now, there are other sources. Podcasts focus on the gist, the main idea, not all the information. Okay? Where, when, who, what. Not everything. And again, repeat. Okay? And the next point is you really need to modify your practice slightly. This means do not only use music. Do not only use exams. Use different sources, okay? Dicen, en plan, en la enseñanza en general, por cualquier cosa, si quieres mejorar, hay que modificar un poco tu forma de hacerlo para mejorar. Los tenistas, ¿qué hacen? Pues juegan con distintos tamaños de pelota o distintas raquetas de distintos pesos, okay? Don't just repeat the same. Modify a bit your practice. So we saw resources, the sources we should use. Use native level sources, music, TV, podcasts, the news, and exam materials, like example exams, to be able to improve, okay? You need to use different types. I personally would focus on listening every day. If you go to the gym, listen to a podcast. You are watching TV, watch it in English. You are listening to music, listen in English. But every day you should listen. Do not avoid it, okay? Because it really is a problem. You will not improve your listening in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It takes time. 2 months, 3 months. After 4 months, you should really understand a lot more. Another thing is, in classes, interacting with me, with the students, you will improve your listening. It naturally, because you get used to it, okay? So, question time. How can I help you? Do you need any help with listening? I will send you the sources.
Do you think that following these tips you are giving us, listening, speaking, is so effective as living in a native English, in native British?
I am giving you the things that I used to learn Spanish.
Yes.
As a Spanish speaker. Now, I never have problems speaking Spanish. Never.
Yeah.
I go to talk to a lawyer, I can understand. I go to the doctor, I can understand through experience. Now, I am basically focusing on ways you can save time. I do not want you to only do exam, 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 and say, Mark, I cannot understand. I still don't understand. Because this is obviously the problem. Yeah. But if you are consistent, you do it every day, then yes, you will improve. Okay? It's the way I did it, and I think it's a very useful way. One thing I will say is there is no one way to do everything. Okay?
Yes.
What works for me maybe is not the best way for you, but I am giving you different ways to do it. You need to apply and use the ways that you think are best.
Yes.
Good. Okay, Imane, do you have any questions?
And analytics only for my why or what and what como I come or I need for my improve my English.
Sorry, can you repeat, please? How can you?
How I can improve my English, my pronunciation English.
The pronunciation. Yes, of course. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Ways to improve your pronunciation are quite simple, okay? Now, when you listen and you repeat, you will improve. But you need to practice speaking often and practice on individual sounds. Pronunciation, yeah? You need to practice with the s and sh sound. You learn the sounds and you need to focus on doing it physically, yeah? Siempre digo lo mismo, ¿vale? Es que la pronunciación es un proceso físico. Hay que saber dónde tienes la lengua, dónde tienes los labios, si quieres hacer qué sonido, si tienes que empujar los labios para afuera. Es que es físico. Entender la teoría está bien, pero si no practicas, es que no vas a mejorar. Es como un músculo, así que hay que practicar. Sonido, palabra, frase. Aprendes que todas las palabras que acaban por T, I, O, N son sh. Pues vale, perfecto. Pues coges un montón, lo practicas, lo pones. ¿Vale? La clave son los sonidos individuales y también aceptar que a la edad que tenemos, igual tenemos un tope. Yo tengo acento, que llevo aquí 15 años, 16, pero es que mi acento no se va. Pero eso es porque yo empecé a aprender a los 24 años. Y Mani, tú tienes 16. Lo más normal es que tu pronunciación lo puedes pulir más. Pero para los que aprenden un poco más tarde, cuesta más. No digo que no se puede hacer, pero es más difícil. ¿Ok? Sound, word, phrase. Repeat, repeat, repeat. También tener a un profesor que te corrija también viene bien. Porque te dice, mira, que así no, así. Igual tú crees que lo estás diciendo bien, pero igual, si te escuchas en una grabación, dices, pues igual no. Yeah? It's all through practice, okay? And I will help you with that. That's why I'm here. I want to help you with it, okay? Right. Any other questions? No? Okay. So, remember, normally in term time, we have classes every Friday. But this week and in September, we of course have the master classes all month. So you will be seeing them. But normally we have these classes, okay? Now, my contact details, you both have my contact details, but because this is going to come to the website, here they are. Send me a message if you need anything. Miguel, I still need you to send me your objective. If you want to do the C1 Escuela Oficial, or if you want to Cambridge.
I will tell you.
Send it via WhatsApp, okay? Fantastic, good. So, if that's it, we are finished. Thank you very much.
Thank to you.
Great.
Thank you.
I hope these have been useful tips. At 5 o'clock, we have the class about phrasal verbs. We're going to look at phrasal verbs and learn phrasal verbs. Okay?
Today I came to her in the class because I have to leave for to pay my material scholar for with my library, so I can't. Sorry.
But we will have the recording, Imani, and you can see the recording. Okay? Okay, con la grabación lo puedes ver y aunque no estés en directo, it can be good for you, okay? All right, fantastic. If that is it, we are finished for today, okay? So I will see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Much.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you very much.
You too. Have a nice